同学们，大家好。So we have been working on the video running against the grain, and in this video clip, I want to explain and tease out the language functions, the language grammar and words used in expressing one's opinions, making assessments, and also ways of building compact, connected discourse. So let's begin. I took out a number of good sentence examples from the video and give you concrete markings as to what they do in the language. So all the red markings are chunks, fixed expressions you can copy and use to express your own views. And the yellow highlights are ways of making connected discourse. So let's begin. 第一, so first I'll read the text and I'll explain the grammar behind it. 一，中国人讲究的是中庸嘛，就是在中间上最合适的。其实际上也符合宇宙的原理，就是中间的模糊最合适的。你不能过，也不能不够，跟太极拳理论那个不丢、不顶、不抗，是一个意思。So here the Tai Chi coach says Chinese people, what they are particular about is the middle way. That is, it is most suitable to be staying in the middle. In fact, this also is in accordance with the basic principles of the universe. That is, the middle, the kind of fuzzy middle, is the most suitable. You cannot be too exceedingly, but you cannot be not enough either. It is the same meaning as Tai Chi boxing theory of not fully reaching the limit, not pushing the limit, and not feeling too superior, and same meaning. So in this kind of complex expressions, this ways of making assertions, expressing your own opinion, uses first 什么什么讲究的是什么什么讲究的是 what one is particular about is 讲究 to be particular about is. So you can say I'm really particular about the size of the apartment. 我最讲究的是房子的大小。Okay, another one you use to express your opinion is 实际上也 which means in fact it is also. So you can use this to elaborate, follow up on the point. So for example, you say 中庸我们讲究的是中庸，实际上也 So not only we are particular about the middle way, in fact it is actually in accordance with the universe as a whole. So adding a point. Another one, 你不能也不能 So if you think people cannot do one thing and also cannot be doing the opposite, you can use this as construction. For example, 你不能太怎么怎么样，也不能不怎么怎么样。So if I want to say you cannot feeling too proud of yourself, you also cannot feel too inferior about yourself. The Chinese philosophy of 你不能太亢，也不能太卑，你不能太自信，也不能太没有自信，对不对？ Okay, and then we have these convenient ways of building discourse. For example, you can state your point and then you can transition to say 就是说 which gives you a chance to state a paraphrase of your earlier point. So something something 就是说 something something. This is a way to make a point and restate your point in a paraphrase, and is used in the colloquial in spoken Chinese. You don't do this in writing. 跟什么什么是一个意思 To draw a comparison. 跟什么什么是一个意思 So in this example, 你不能过也不能不够，跟太极那个是一个意思 So you cannot exceed yourself, you cannot not reach your limit. This is the same idea as in Tai Chi. Right. So second example, one of the old men exercising in the park says 有四大要素. So there's 4 important elements. 行如风, walk like wind. 立如松, stand like a pine tree. 坐如钟, sit like a bell. 卧如弓, sleep like a bowl. 这个你生活得按这个. Life, you have to use this as your principle. 生活你得按这个这4大生活离不开 The 4 elements life cannot be without. 你得走路 You have to walk. 还得注意脚底 But also you have to pay attention to what's under your feet. 是吧 Isn't it? So this is a very kind of colloquial, very traditional way of talking. The man doesn't mitigate his own views. He is very certain about his views. To express a certainty in your views, you can say 你的生活你得按 So your life you have to be accordance with 你的生活你得按什么什么你得什么什么还得什么什么 You have to and also you have to and then ask with the tag 是吧 Don't you think so? So if you are pretty certain you think people have to do a certain way, you can use these expressions that marks certainty. 你的生活你得你还得是吧 So one example here with building compact connected discourse is the use of 还 to suggest addition. So 你得还得你要还要你可以还可以 so on and so forth. Let's look at the third example. This example comes from the Tai Chi coach explaining how he thinks the Western way of exercising is too much as an extreme, how Chinese people would prefer to be in the middle way. 西方的那个锻炼方式呢 So Western way of exercising, 他认为 its idea is that 只要我动 as long as I move, 我就可以达到我强身健体的作用 Then I will be able to reach my goal of keeping fit and exercising. 我就可以强壮 Then I can be strong. 它接近的是终点 It is approaching the end point. 就是练练练 That is, it's just exercise, exercise, exercise. 最后也 in the end. Also, 你跟正常人一样 You are as every other person. 都是死亡 It's just all death in the end. 但是对于中国人讲 But as far as Chinese people are concerned, 中国人说 Chinese people would say 就是 that is 像一朵花 like a flower. 这也是道家思想嘛 This is also a Taoist idea. 一直保持在一个花骨朵 To always keep in a state of a flower bud. 花还没开的状态时候是最好的 In the state of the flower not yet blooming, that is the best state. 如果打开了就很快就谢了 If it blooms, it very soon will die. 如果你永远不让它开 If you forever keep it in the bud, never let it bloom, 你就会活很长很长 and you can live very, very long. 这些年好像现在年轻人 These days, it seems that today's young people 接受那个外来文化比较多 They accepted quite a bit of culture from the West. 中国人心里也有崇洋的心理 So in the heart of the Chinese people, there is also this uncritical respect of the Western things. 就是外来的都是好的 That is to say, anything that's from outside are good. 但是其实 but in fact, 把自己本土的东西给忘了 They forgot about their own motherland. the precious things there. So this is a chunk where the speaker expresses his disapproval or his distance with Western ways of exercising and explain his own thinking as to what Chinese way is and how he thinks the young Chinese people nowadays are not as critical as they should be. So this is a sample to look at how you express opinions of disagreeing or not so much embracing an idea. So first, 西方的那个呢，它是 so you want to suggest introduce an idea and explain it, a topic comment structure. 西方的那个呢，它是他认为 so explain the view. 他认为他 here is the third person used for referring to non-human things. 他认为 it holds the view that 只要什么什么就可以什么什么就可以，只要什么什么就可以达到什么什么就可以什么什么。So to use 只要 and 就 as long as, then the speaker explains kind of simplistic thinking of the Western exercising principle. 只要就可以. So as long as you exercise, then you can get to be fit. 它什么什么的是就是 here is a chunk we can use to focus on one point and then further elaborate on that point. 它是 explain 就是 and rephrase. Now, how do we make a transition, contrasting transition to your own view? Criticism. 但是 so you can use but. 但是对于中国人来讲 but as far as Chinese people are concerned, so you transition to introduce another perspective of the Chinese. 但是对于什么什么来讲 transition to a different view. So here you can see we start with introducing the view you disagree with, explain this view, 他认为, and then try to make it as if it's very simple. 只要什么什么就什么什么，他的是就是 and to show how the emphasis, the main point of the other people's views are, and then to say but as far as I'm concerned, transition to a different view. 好像 so 好像 means you can give an example now. 好像 a flower bud. 好像 so when you transition to your own view, you use a metaphor or you use concrete examples. 就是 so paraphrase again. 就是这也是 elaborate on your views from different angles. 这是这也是就是 another paraphrase. 但是其实 but in fact. So you elaborate on one point, transition to a different view. These are chunks that we can use to express opinions. In this example, we also see ways of building compact, connected discourse. For example, 还什么什么什么，还什么什么什么. So you use 还 to add to the point you already made. 如果什么什么就什么什么. This is a conditional and then its consequence. So if we don't let the flower to bud, it will be living for a long, long time. 如果什么什么就什么什么，只要什么什么就可以什么什么 necessary condition. 只要练就可以强身健体. So as long as you exercise, you can keep fit. 就是什么什么也是什么什么 to explain and then to elaborate. 但是其实 to transition, but in fact. So these are ways of building utterances, sentences in logical relations and to show their logical connections. They also express some assertions as well. Let's continue. Look at another example. 4. 可能在我们这个年龄还觉得那个太极没有领会到那个太极的要领吧，就觉得太极有点简单，而且有一点那种轻，那种达不到健身效果吧。可能我们还没有那种领会吧。 像我们可能少一点。So here we have an example from a university student, a young person. As you can see, he is very much conscious of the fact that it's on his own opinion. He's not very assertive. He has a lot of mitigations of the assertion. So the way he expresses his opinion is 可能在我们这个年龄还觉得 so perhaps at our age we still feels so you're admitting your own limited view while introducing it 还没有怎么怎么吧 so it's a softened tone suggestive maybe we have not yet appreciated Taiji understand Taiji down tone your assertion 就觉得有点儿 it just feels that it's a little bit 而且有一点儿 and a little bit 吧 so all these are ways of downtoning your assertion so we just feel that it has a little bit too simple a little bit too light couldn't really get to exercising effects perhaps 可能还没有吧 perhaps it is yet not yet so you are accepting the possibility that it might be right, but it just you haven't understood it yet. All these are different ways to kind of show I'm just suggesting. 可能我们还没有那种领会吧 Perhaps we're not yet get to that kind of understanding. 像我们可能少一点 Like us, maybe not so much. So this young man has very much paid attention to not sounding assertive. The use of 可能the use of 还 not yet it might happen not yet the use of 吧 to be tentative 就觉得有点而且有点to mitigate your assertion 吧 again a tentative assertion 可能还没有像我们可能to confine things to one's own view so this is very useful if you want to sound reasonable and quite careful building compact connected discourse, we have the use of 而且. So something 而且 something adding to your point. Number 5, 虽然没从事它 even though I'm not in this trade or not taking it up, 倒不觉得无聊 I'm not really thinking that it's useless. 不过我觉得肯定有人会觉得很无聊 But I think it must be people who think it's rather boring. 当我心情特别好 When I'm really in a good mood 或者 or 心情不是那么好的时候 When I'm not so much in a good mood 我就喜欢跑步 I just like to run. 我特别喜欢那种满身大汗 I really like that kind of fully sweaty就那种很清爽的感觉 just that kind of really really clean and cleared out feeling. So here again being careful speaker the college student used 虽然导步 to concede to a point and state a slightly different point, a counterintuitive point. So even though I'm not doing it, even though I'm not doing Tai Chi, 导步 I don't really feel it's boring. 不过我觉得肯定有人会觉得 but I think that there must be people who think. So it's not my view, but I'm pretty sure other people might think so. 当什么什么时 when some at a particular time 或者什么什么时 at a particular time 我就喜欢 So if you want to say you like to do something in different times, you can say this. 当 something something 或者 something something 的时候我就喜欢我就特别喜欢那种什么什么的感觉 I really like the feeling of doing something. So the most useful here probably is the use of 虽然导步 kind of conceding your point and to say it's not as you might think. Building compact and connected discourse 当什么什么时或者什么什么时候 to give different time frames. 虽然导步 Number 6, 跑步我认为 this is by the woman who is organizer of the running event, so she speaks in a more formal kind of official tone. 跑步 我认为它是一个最简单、最基础、要求最低的一个活动。Running, I think, is one of the most simple, most basic, requires the least preparation, that kind of activity. 所有的人 all people 在任何场合 in any situation 他都是可以进行跑步锻炼的 He can all just do running and exercise. 那第二个 so the second point 我觉得很重要的就是说 one thing that's really important I think 在08年 in 2008北京是做了一次奥运会 Beijing did a Olympics 那么在奥运会以后 then after the Olympics 就是在整个的国家都是在提倡 so the whole country is advocating 全民的这种健身的运动 this kind of whole citizen exercise 我们很多的这些普通的人也意识到是说 so we people like us the ordinary people also realize that is 运动 exercise 对自己的健康非常有好处 it's extremely helpful for one's health so here she speaks in a kind of official, formal way, giving several points about why running is a good activity, having to do with very basic requirement of facility, and it has to do with Olympics and the entire country being conscious of health. So ways of marking opinion, you can start with something you want to comment on, like sports, 跑步 or dancing, 跳舞 or listening to music, 听音乐 and then you elaborate on its benefits or on its good aspects of it. 我认为 I think 它是一个 point 1, point 2, point 3 and then use 的一个运动 to add evaluations about it. For example, if you want to say dancing, I think it's the most fun, most basic, and most demanding kind of hobby. You can say 跳舞，我认为它是一个最有趣、最基础、要求最低的一个爱好，对不对？And also you can assert what you think is the most important by saying 我觉得很重要的是说elaborate on at the point 也意识到是说 so 是说 is a way to transition to the actual point in spoken Chinese 也意识到是说什么什么什么对什么什么什么非常有好处 so if you want to say something's really beneficial you can say the thing as a topic and then use the expression 对非常有好处 For example, if you want to say good food is extremely helpful to older people's health. 吃好的对老年人来说非常有好处。Or even if you want to say dancing is extremely good for bones. 跳舞对骨骼非常有好处，对不对？ And there are a couple of ways of building compact connected discourse in this example. 什么什么是一个什么什么的 to use this sentence pattern to describe something as a type of something. Use the de structure. 所有的人他都 everyone 都 so kind of universal quantifier 所有的人是 everybody it's linked to the adverb 都所有的人都 everybody 任何地方都 similarly anywhere 都整个国家都 the whole countries so all these have to do with a universal entire entity followed by 都所有的人都任何地方都整个国家都So the next is the use of 那第二个 So if you're enumerating items of a list 第一个什么什么什么那第二个什么什么什么第三个什么什么什么So we also have the time expression 那么在什么什么以后 So after something afterwards 很多人也 adding a point about other people So I do this many people also do this 我喜欢跑步，很多人也喜欢跑步。Now we come to the last one, last two. 像是这种活动，我会有很高目标。So like this kind of activity, I would have a lot of very high goal. 我到这个终点的时候 when I reach this final line, 我会想到 I would think 我能不能再跑到下一个终点 Can I reach the next point? 所以 therefore 我在这个过程中in this entire process 会锻炼人的意志 I will feel that it exercises one's will 所以我感觉这个活动特别好 So I think this activity is really good So in this example, we have ways of talking about how you personally feel about the benefits of something, how you tend to do something. So we tend to do something by using the modal verb 会. So if something happens, I would. Right? Hypothetically, I would have this tendency of doing that. 像是我会 I would have a high goal. I would think about the next goal, stuff like that. 什么什么的时候我会 to give a concrete instance to use modal verb 会 to show tendency 过程中会it would exercise my will 所以我感觉 therefore I feel so these expressions give us way to talk about how you like something because it has a certain tendency of doing something像什么什么我会，所以什么什么 are also used to build compact discourse. Now we come to the last one. 我爱跑步 I love to run 因为 because 跑步让我特别开心 because it makes me really happy 而且给了我一个很好的身体 and also it gives me a really good body 我觉得每次跑完步 I feel that every time when I finish running 虽然特别累Even though I'm really tired, 但我感觉 but I feel 我特别轻松 I'm so relaxed 有一种那种超越自己的感觉 There is this kind of feeling of exceeding one's own limit So this is ways of talking about why one loves a hobby because it does this to your mood and does that to your body health and does that to feel mentally that you are challenging yourself so these are really helpful expressions 我爱什么什么因为什么什么让我什么什么而且给了我什么什么 talk about different reasons for loving something 让我怎么怎么样给了我怎么怎么样 talking about the benefits of something It gives me this and it makes me do this. 我觉得 I think, I feel. So early on we learned 我认为is formally expressing opinion. 我觉得 literally means I feel. It's sort of softened way of expressing opinion. 虽然但我感觉 So even though, but I feel. Giving personal opinion, conceding to others' view. 有一种什么什么的感觉。Gives personal feelings. So all these are also ways of building connected discourse. 因为什么什么而且什么什么 That's to add a point. Because and also. How do you contrast? 虽然但是 Even though, but. So I hope you find this relatively long video helpful. You can use the handout that's embedded on the website to learn in more detail. When you practice writing, think about how you would incorporate these different expressions. Some features are in spoken Chinese, for example, 就是说, or 是吧, that kind of thing. But also there are issues of written Chinese discourse. For example, 讲究的是实际上 or the time expressions as well as conditionals 只要就虽然但是 so on and so forth. 好的，谢谢大家，再见。